urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And yes, I have been keeping an eye on the whole DSP Asmongold situation, but you know, I wasn't going to make a video every time they decided to throw a volley back and forth. But it appears now that we at least have some form of an agreement. So let's get into it.
Nutshell, very briefly. I'm going to summarize it as quickly as I can. In the last week, the streamer slash content creator Asmongold started watching my detractor content publicly on his stream. Not once, but twice.
It's not detractor content, because detractor content has to have a degree of editorializing in it. There's no editorializing in the video. There's no editorializing content. Like, nothing got editorialized. It was not edited in a way. It was just a clip of you doing something. That's it.
Well, that's because DSP doesn't fully understand what context actually means. In his mind, he believes context is actually tied to the length of something, how long something is, when really context is about just setting the stage. So in certain situations, you don't need a ton of backdrop to get the point across. It's about capturing the essence of what happened, not necessarily the whole of what happened.
Okay, I didn't actually see the raw reaction to it, but I saw clips of it, and basically, he's seeing stuff completely out of context.
Oh!
Okay, completely out of context. He thinks I'm banned on Twitch TV. He thinks that I'm poor.
Well,
Now, that's the number one thing that Phil really wants to shore up, because his only claim to fame at this point in his career is that he's making money. He knows that his content sucks, even though he gets on here and lie about it all the time. But in his mind, as long as he's making money, he's quote unquote sticking it to the detractors, and he's quote unquote still successful. So he wants to portray to the world on a bigger platform that, hey, I'm doing great, I'm happy. A lot of the same stuff that he pushes to us on a daily basis.
you did get banned.
All these things that are completely wrong. But that's what my detractors say about me. So he watches it, he believes it.
Well, if you're not poor, why do you always ask for money?
So a couple times in the last week, when people were asking me about it, particularly, for example, during my truck sim stream last week and stuff like that, I would respond and be like, listen, in general, I stay out of this stuff. I gave my opinions on it, basically publicly saying he's reacting to content that's out of context.
Yes.
He'll believe it because he's meant to believe it based on the way that that content is presented.
It's all...
How are you staying out of stuff if you're going on Twitter and making a tweet specifically for him and calling him out of his name to get his attention? How is that you staying out of it? Oh, well, let me guess. We must be taking that out of context too, right?
A conspiracy.
It ain't fair, but what can I do?
Yeah.
You know, it's punching down.
Yes.
I have no way to defend myself against it because he has an insane audience. I don't.
You know how you defend yourself against not only Asmongold, but detractors in general? You stop the behavior. That's it. And the crazy part about this whole thing is it doesn't even require any effort from you. In fact, it requires you to do less, but you still won't do it.
Right? Everything that I say gets misconstrued, gets misrepresented on the internet by my haters.
Yes.
Right? So I didn't think it was fair. I felt I was upset about it. I don't think that's fair that happens. But hey, what I did say is I don't care because I'm going to be doing my thing no matter what. It ain't going to hurt me in the long run. Every single person has done this. Every single person, it seems, will at some point.
Now, you went on and on and on talking about how you don't care, how it doesn't affect you. But then you just said that it hurt you, that it made you upset. So you do care, Phil. So you need to stop acting like whatever you have in you does not exist in other humans in terms of how we view how other people perceive us. A lot of people would like to say, oh, we don't care. And I do believe that there's a spectrum in which you actually care about things. Some people do care less, but nonetheless, they still care.
He's not the first big guy to talk shit about me. So it is what it is.
I wasn't really talking shit. I was just talking about you.
So the thing is, people kept sending me him these little reactions that I would have to it. And then eventually, after going back and forth, okay, just reacting to
Phil, your editors don't even edit the clips, man.
my stuff. I said the other day, I said, you know, it's easy for this guy to just keep reacting to the detractor content, but then why doesn't he talk to the person? Why doesn't he watch the raw content? If he would just sit here and watch my podcast, sit here and watch me play a game, he would see what my stream actually is.
Okay.
And if you want to know the truth, I think what he would say is my content's boring.
That's exactly what he would say, because that's what most people say, because that's the truth, Phil. Now, you would like to sit on here and act like you're the most entertaining person in the world and it's chill fun and yada, yada, yada. But the truth is, you're probably the most boring, quote unquote, entertainment I think I've ever seen, and it's not because you're not capable. I think if you tried, that there will be some semblance of entertainment in there. It's simply because you do not care. Okay, you're going to try to get the most out of something while providing minimal effort. And this is the outcome that you get. Like I said before, many of us went to high school and had to do group projects. And when it was time for the presentation, it took you 5 seconds to tell who actually took time on the presentation and who tried to put something together that morning. It's not that hard to tell.
You'd probably not think that I'm that entertaining. It's only when you take the crash out moments, the times that I ask for contributions, and you put them together as like, oh, that's all Phil does. That's when you get that drama.
But you have to admit that it is crazy that like every other day people make like a 30-minute compilation of you asking for money. Like you really have to admit that's a lot of times that you've asked for money.
Now, do you see Asmongold's face? He's a little perplexed by Phil's reasoning, like many of us, because he's like, wow, what he's saying is not lining up with what I'm seeing. Where is he drawing this from? What he's attempting here, Asmongold, is what's known as pignosis. Now, it generally does not work on people whose brains are calibrated correctly, but for those who have been affected by being dropped on their heads, quote unquote, dense, it's very effective.
It is. It's a lot.
Entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not fair. He should give me a fair shake. He should watch the content, or he should actually talk to me about it instead of laughing at the toxic stuff that's out of context, because his audience.
What context would have to make it make sense that you couldn't figure out to use the bulldozer to move the balls into the ball pit in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? What context was required there?
He does not know. He's only saying that because that's been his talking point for many years. Because like I said before, Phil doesn't really understand what context actually means. He thinks that because you didn't watch his whole stream, you somehow don't understand the essence of what happened on the stream. When many of us for the longest time have been watching sports highlights, right? Now, do we see every single play, every third down where they get a 4-yard loss or a 2-yard loss? No, but they package it together in a way that tells a story, and you generally have a good idea of what happened. That's all this is. But what Phil really wants to do is he wants an opportunity to get on a big stage and perpetuate his narratives. Because again, Phil believes he's smarter than everybody. So if he lies hard enough and long enough, hopefully, eventually, you'll believe him.
And also, it's just funny. It's not like it's personal.
And thinks that's who I am.
Yes.
Okay. So after having that back and forth, all right, the other night I did a tweet at him.
You did.
That was insulting on purpose to get his attention. Now you might say, well, wait a minute. Why did you do it that way? Why weren't you nice? Because if I were nice, he never would have responded. Straight up. The only way to get attention.
The only reason that I saw your tweet about me is the fact that it got reposted by the Yeet account. And you're right that I would not have seen your message because it didn't hit my messages. It didn't hit my message requests. It hit my spam folder. And I had to go all the way down into that in order to find the message.
I got news for you, Asmongold. Whatever email service or provider that you use was attempting to do you a favor. They put DSP's message exactly where it was supposed to go, bruh. That's some funny shit. And what's funny about this is Phil has really been going out of his way to try to create a scenario where he can have a sit down with Asmongold. But a couple years ago, when he had the Side Scrollers podcast or the Side Scrollers interview, he sat there in Craig's face, and he lied to those men for hours on end, lie after lie after lie with a straight face. It's so easy for him. He even had the nerve post-interview to say, I'm never going to address any of this stuff again. And if you want the definitive answers to all your questions regarding me, that's where you go to get it, knowing that he was lying the whole damn time.
On the internet in the modern day is to be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
So I tweeted at him basically saying, hey, stop being a bitch.
Yeah, sure.
Read your DMs.
Sure.
And then I sent him a DM. And I'm not going to read the DM word for word or anything, but to paraphrase, what I said in the DM was, hey, I'll say right up front, I'm apologize for being abrasive in that tweet, but I knew that sending it that way, people would send it to you to get your attention, so you'd actually read this DM. That if I didn't do it that way, you never would have.
I don't take this personally at all. Like, I don't know who he thinks I am. I don't care. That's fine. Do you want to call me a bitch? I don't give a shit.
And honestly, that's the best approach to take with Phil. And I know sometimes Phil can make people seethe when he hits his goals and all that stuff. Dude, Phil is a damn joke, man. There's nothing about him that should bother you that bad to the point where you feel like you want to do something to him. I mean, for what? He's already living in hell. I mean, would you want to trade places with him? I wouldn't. And there's plenty of us out here who don't make as much money as Phil, who probably don't have as much quote unquote internet clout or whatever you want to call it. But like I said before, would you want to trade places with him? The answer is a definitive no.
Seen this. But anyway, what I said to him was, you have all these misconceptions about me. Yes. You think I'm banned from Twitch? False. You think I'm poor? False. I have all these things, and this is the stuff that's propagated on the internet about me.
Yeah, but that's surface level stuff that I'm sure you're going to try to make it be the bones of the entire conversation, because you feel like those are the one or two things that you can quote unquote disprove, because you're talking about a technicality. Oh, it wasn't banned. I was just departner. Well, that's effectively the same thing when we're talking about you, because now you can't make money to the same degree that you could before. So it's essentially a ban, but you're going to try to play semantics to try to make it seem like this is the case with everything that they do, even though it's only the case with that particular situation.
Right.
So, let's have a real discussion. If you have questions, if you have things that you have issue with me, why don't we just talk about it? Rather than you watch the detractor videos that will give you the skewed perspective, I can give you the answers you want. Okay. Right now, I can explain the whole situation of what happened with Twitch, and you would get it because I'm not banned.
And what that means is, Asmongold, he's going to come on your platform and he's going to have long-winded responses to everything, even stuff that doesn't even require a long response, because Phil has to obfuscate, he has to omit, he has to muddy the waters, because that's the only way things can make sense in his world. He is allergic to reality. So if you're going into the situation thinking you're going to get any answers out of this guy, it's more than likely not going to happen. And I don't agree with everything that Asmongold says or does, just like most of us don't, right? When it comes to people in general. But from what I've gathered from him, he seems like a sharp dude. So I don't think he's just going to go in there and kind of roll over for Phil. I do think that he's going to have a level of preparation. I do think the people around him are going to research things and give him the necessary information that he needs. I just hope in the moment, he stays fast and does not allow Phil to walk and talk and go all over the world. Keep him on point, because if you allow him, he will drift.
Right. So that's all I said. And then I guess.
By the way, he's coming on the stream. It's happening this week.
Yesterday, people said, hey, Phil DM'd you, so then he went and read my DM.
Yes.
And he reacted to it on his show and basically said, all right, I never do this, but since it seems like it's content that would be entertaining for me, for him, I would be willing to do this.
Yes.
Okay. So his perspective is we could co-stream it. Like he streams his side, I stream my side. So I would be here on my channel. He'd be on his channel. And
now, why do we think Phil is actually willing to do this? Now, based on what we know about Phil, his antics and his behavior, he's only ever going to do something when it's beneficial for him. It's the only reason he involved himself with the Kino Casino, even after the Side Scrollers podcast, because he said, I'm not doing anything else ever again. But when an opportunity presented itself, what did he do? he hopped on the bandwagon because he knew there was going to be monetary compensation involved. And it's the same thing with this whole Asmongold situation. Does Phil want to go in there and lie and try to present himself as the good guy who just got bullied by the internet? Sure. But Phil also knows that there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this situation. And based on mathematics alone, he feels like he can hopefully fish a couple of whales and or dolphins out of this situation. And if you ask me, that's all this is about primarily. Obviously, there's other things there, but to me, this is the number one thing. He wants more whales, period.
I'm okay with that. You know, the way I would do it, I would treat it just like any other guest on the show, where there's no pop-ups, there's no distractions. I'm not reading chat. It's just him and me talking for an hour or two, however long he wants to be on the show, right? He can stream his end on his show. So it's basically a co-show, if you really think about it. We retain the rights to each side to put on our channels.
You see Asmongold's reaction when Phil said retain the rights. Phil. This guy obviously does not take you seriously. And most people with functional brains do not take you seriously. That's why it's always hilarious when you use these big terms to describe something where they just don't apply, man.
And then what I would do is after that, do a decompression session with you guys like I always do after I have a guest on, where we just chill for like an hour and we talk about what just happened. I could then do shout outs for contributions and the like. Okay? So I'm totally down with that, 100%.
4 hours. Oh,
and
wow.
I responded to him last night and said as much. I said, hey, I'm down for that. And I even suggested, I said, this week, Monday or Tuesday would be perfect. That I could do a show either Monday or Tuesday from like noon to 2 p.m. Pacific time, because he broadcasts the same times I do. Like as I was turning my stream on today, people were saying, oh, he just went live too. So I think we broadcast like the same times.
Yep, it'll be convenient.
So it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. We don't have to change our schedules or nothing.
Yep.
We would just do it maybe around noonish my time. We do like a little 1 to 2 hour thing, either tomorrow or Tuesday. Now, the reason I saved this for the end of the show.
Now, before he goes on rambling any longer, if I'm Asmongold, I add one stipulation to this entire interaction. Both of y'all, or maybe just him, but maybe both of y'all, so it's fair, turn off any form of monetization. That means people are not even able to super chat, super sticker, super thanks, none of that. Turn it all off, because if DSP is just here to be honest and have an honest conversation, then he shouldn't be worried about monetization to begin with, right? But I know, and we know, that that's the first thing that's on his mind. So if I'm Asmongold, I completely take that off the table altogether.
Joe, I was hoping he would have responded to me today, but he didn't. He hasn't responded. So
Welcome to interacting with me.
And what Asmongold just said right there, it resonates. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what he just said. And I'll just say this. Technology, by and large, is supposed to make the world smaller. But in a lot of ways, people have drifted further apart. And I think it's because it's so much easier to reach out. You can just do it on a whim, but people don't do it. I mean, it's never been easier in human history to respond to somebody or reach someone that's further away than it is now. Yet we don't do it. It's kind of sad. We got to do better, y'all.
I guess it's not going to be tomorrow. Because if it were going to be tomorrow, you would have think he would have read it and responded by now. You know, because it sucks, because I wanted to say, hey, lock it in. I can't lock it in right now.
It'll happen.
So what I would say is I would hope that he'll respond.
It'll happen this week. Chill out.
In the next 24 hours, and we'll do it maybe Tuesday.
Relax.
So that'll be Tuesday's podcast.
Wednesday, something like that, yeah.
And likely Tuesday's main gameplay stream. Like, it won't be gameplay. It's going to be this. Okay? But that's if he agrees, and he hasn't agreed yet.
Yes.
I already checked. Casanova, I already checked, like I said. He hasn't responded yet. You know, his show is all over the place. Like, it's people suggesting stuff for him to react to and stuff. And I guess no one brought it up today that he would respond to it yet. So
that's because you are like number 150 on the depth chart when it comes to things that are interesting to talk about on a stream, especially if you're somebody like Asmongold and you have a big audience and you cover a myriad of topics. Phil, you're boring. You know, once we get past the whole begging and you acting like a damn crackhead, the novelty kind of wears off. I mean, it just is what it is.
So he hasn't responded yet. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, to be fair, Phil, what time did you message me? I'm going to pull it up right now. What time was this? Okay, here we go. And you messaged me at 2:35 in the morning.
Now, did y'all hear that? Now, we know this is modus operandi when it comes to Phil and his antics. He's always up in the middle of the night on Twitter, scrolling, hate watching people, and having gin-induced anger attacks. Now, he said what he said because he was trying to get his attention. I think that was a byproduct of what he did initially. I think Phil sent that thing off because he was in a fit of rage because he couldn't believe, number one, that this guy was talking about him, and number two, that he was ignoring him, because Phil believes that's the highest form of disrespect. How dare you ignore Darksydephil? At least say something. Tell me you're not interested. Say something, because remember, when Phil was dealing with Wings of Redemption, he came on pretty much every day for a week and was talking about how upset and disrespectful it was that Wings had the nerve to ignore him, right? Crazy.
Okay, so I was honestly jerking off, by the way, with my stream off. So you're going to have to take my word for it. And playing video games. I was checked out for the day. Okay, I was done with interactions. And so you're up. Yeah, I was up, but I was, yeah, at the same time, sure.
Yeah, there we go. He gets up around 9 to 10 a.m. my time. He streams at 11 my time. So he's literally doing my schedule. We do the same exact schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be
so
very
there's no
easy.
reason why we couldn't make it happen.
That's right.
But I'd like to do it.
Shut up. I was getting ready to go to sleep. Like, I was getting ready to go to sleep. I was playing video games. Listen, there's like 30 minutes of my day where I want to talk to people. And that 30 minutes of my day is not even where I want to talk to people. It's where I'm willing to do it. Okay, every other time, absolutely fucking not.
I ain't gonna lie, I felt them. I feel like the older I get, the less I want to be around other people. That does not mean I don't have people that I love and like kicking it with and all that, but there is a limit. I'm not gonna lie, and the way he framed that was poetic. I gotta give it to him.
You know, tomorrow or Tuesday.
Yes.
But let's see if he responds. Like I said, he hasn't responded. Okay? There you go.
Yeah.
So there we have it. Phil and Asmongold appear to have agreed on some type of meeting. Now, I don't know what the nature of this is going to be. Is this going to be them sitting down having a casual conversation? Or is it going to be more in line with an interrogation, with Asmongold just asking him a series of questions and follow-on questions based on what he asked him previously? I don't know. But I'm hoping that Asmongold has enough wherewithal and people are informing him enough that he can go in there and navigate Phil's nonsense. Because if you allow him, he will take all the air out of the room and waste all the time. An hour or maybe even an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours is not enough time to talk to Phil and really flesh out what's going on, because he's going to spend so much of that time bullshitting and talking about things that are not even relevant. All right. Now, side note, but still pertaining, Asmongold has on his Reddit account, or on his Reddit page, if you will, he has asked a question to his audience, asking them, what would you like me to ask Phil? Now, I don't know how he's going about filtering it. I don't know if it's going to be 5 questions, 15 questions. Who knows? But we'll see how this turns out. But in my estimation, this is going to be Side Scrollers 2.0, just with a bigger stage and brighter lights. I can't see it really going any other way, because I don't see Phil deviating from the behavior that he usually does. Why would he? I just don't see it happening. But that's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.